Most contractors will walk a site, check the ground is reasonably level, and start talking sub-base depths and artificial turf specifications. But hand them a floodplain site, and the whole conversation needs to change completely. Not just the drainage design, not just the turf spec. The entire ground level itself may need to go up by nearly a metre before a single layer of construction material goes down. That is not a standard 3G pitch construction challenge. That is a civil engineering challenge wrapped around a sports surfacing project. And if the contractor you are speaking to does not immediately understand that distinction, your project is already in trouble. Floodplains are more common in urban sports development than many people expect. Local authorities and football clubs across England regularly inherit or acquire sites that sit within Environment Agency flood risk zones. The appeal is obvious. Large, flat, often underused land that looks perfect for a full-size pitch. The hidden complexity is that these sites require an entirely different approach to sub-base engineering, ground raising, and drainage specification. Build on a floodplain without addressing those factors, and you end up with a surface that floods, compacts unevenly, or fails FA performance standards within a few seasons. The cost of getting this wrong is not just a failed pitch. It is a failed facility, wasted public money, and a community left without the sport provision it was promised. So who actually faces this problem? Think about local authority sports officers tasked with delivering new 3G facilities on constrained urban land where floodplain sites are often the only option available. Think about football clubs applying for Football Foundation grants who have a site identified but are struggling to find a contractor with demonstrable experience on complex ground conditions. Think about sports facility developers working in cities like London, Manchester or Birmingham, where developable flatland is scarce, and the sites that are available often come with environmental constraints attached. These are not niche scenarios. They are increasingly common, and they demand a contractor who understands what floodplain ground conditions actually require. Technically, not just theoretically. What kinds of situations specifically trigger this need? A local council secures funding for a new community pitch, but the only available site borders a river and sits within a flood zone designation. A football academy wants to expand its training facilities onto adjacent land that drains poorly and has recorded flood events. A school building program identifies space for a multi-use 3G surface, but groundwork surveys reveal the water table is far closer to the surface than initial assessments suggested. Or a housing developer includes a sports facility as part of a planning commitment, only to find that the designated area requires significant ground raising before any surfacing work can begin. In every one of these cases, the core issue is the same. The ground as it stands cannot support a compliant, durable 3G pitch installation. Something has to happen to the land itself first. That is where specialist knowledge in drainage engineering, sub-base specification, and ground preparation becomes the difference between a pitch that performs and one that fails. This is exactly the kind of challenge that Soft Surfaces has built genuine expertise around. Soft Surfaces completed a 3G pitch construction project in Whitehall, London, a 6,800 square metre full-size pitch built on a floodplain. Before any surfacing work could begin, Soft Surfaces raised the entire site by nearly 1 metre. That is not a minor adjustment to a standard build process. That is a ground-up rethinking of the entire construction sequence. The sub-base specification was adapted to account for the raised ground profile and the drainage requirements of a flood-susceptible site. The drainage engineering was designed to handle water volumes and flow patterns that a standard pitch installation would never encounter. Soft Surfaces managed every stage of that process, from initial ground assessment through to the final 3G surface installation. As a playground surfacing specialist and sports surfacing contractor with over 20 years of experience, Soft Surfaces brings that same systematic approach to wet pour installation, wet pour surfacing, and artificial turf construction on sites where the standard methodology simply does not apply. What does this mean for you as a developer? a sports officer, or a club looking at a difficult site. It means you have a documented reference point. Soft Surfaces completed a project of this complexity in one of the highest scrutiny planning environments in the country and delivered a full-size compliant pitch. That proof matters when you're trying to satisfy a planning authority, satisfy a funder, or simply satisfy yourself that the contractor you are appointing can actually deliver. Ask any contractor bidding on a floodplain site these 3 questions. Have you raised ground by more than half a metre on a sports surface project before? How do you adapt your sub-base specification for flood risk zones? Can you provide a completed project reference on a similar site? If they cannot answer all 3 directly, the risk sits with you. Soft Surfaces answers all 3. If your site falls outside what a standard contractor can handle, start the conversation at www.softsurfaces.co.uk or call 01625 445 760. The complexity of your site is not an obstacle for Soft Surfaces. It is precisely what Soft Surfaces is built for.